Now, with Verlander beginning the season on a relatively positive note, his fellow ace, Max Scherzer, has definitely not been himself. In his first 5 starts this season, Scherzer holds a 5.56 earned run average, surrendering 6 home runs, striking out a career low 20.8% of batters, and walking a career worst 10.4% of batters in 22.2 innings pitched. The most recent blow-up came in Detroit, coming off of his 10-game suspension, where Scherzer gave up 6 earned runs in 3.1 innings pitched. In regards to his substance suspensions, Scherzer's spin rates were also noticeably down, most notably including his curveball, changeup, and slider. Mets manager Buck Showalter commented that he has zero concern about Max going forward, and the spin drop is just an outlier.
Yeah, I was very disappointed because number one, the team that they were facing. I mean, this is the Detroit Tigers, who are absolutely awful. And if your guy who's getting paid this much can't pitch well against them, that's a big problem. And Scherzer, he was out for a little bit. It's not like the guy was out for 3 months. So there should have been that much rust involved. And then Max Scherzer was like, "Oh, at least we got it out of the way. Now we don't have to talk about it." It's like, wait a minute, there's a lot to talk about. You were caught potentially cheating, and now you're under a heavy microscope, and now you can't perform with how much you're getting paid. That's not a good thing to do. So, like, because Scherzer said it's not a big deal, I'll give him one more start before I totally just unleash on him. But I mean, that is just the worst thing you want to see besides an injury coming off that suspension. It's just, I mean, being so uncompetitive and against a team that is as poor as the Detroit Tigers. I mean, if you're struggling against them, what's going to happen when you're facing these tougher lineups? When you are facing the Braves again, we know Max struggled against them late in September. So again, similar to Verlander, like these guys are just getting paid too much. Like you said earlier, they're too experienced. Hall of Fame, all this other stuff. They are held in such a higher regard to such higher standards that there can't be excuses. There can't be this. I mean, this is a lot of times this year so far we've seen Scherzer just not get it done. This isn't the first time or the second time. I mean, this has just been a problem that we've been talking about for a while now, and it just continues to go on. And again, it's only May. I mean, who knows when his oblique's going to go out? And as I've said a million times, as you get older, it just gets tougher. I mean, Max Scherzer's not getting better. Like we've seen the best of Max Scherzer as a man already. That was last year. It wasn't the greatest thing ever, but he is not going to get better. I mean, that's just how it works when it comes to age. I mean, Father Time is undefeated, so he really needs to get his act together both on the field and off the field.
Yeah, not the greatest look, obviously, coming off of the suspension and then all getting shelled by, like Frank said, one of the worst teams in baseball, and the Tigers. So not the greatest look, and you could be like, well, it's not a big deal, we get it done. Well, now you have the microscope on you. As soon as you got pinged, getting the 10 games, you're going to have even more eyes, not just Mets fans. Now all of baseball is going to be watching you now because they're going to think, hey, if he's been cheating or whatever, if he doesn't pitch well, does that tarnish his legacy a little bit? Again, that's a different discussion. But yeah, like Frank said, the best baseball is behind him. Do I think he can turn it around and be a productive pitcher again? Yeah. I think this season you will see a better version of Max Scherzer. When that's going to be, we'll see. But it's not a great look. Again, especially like Frank said, there's $80 million in two 40-year-olds. I don't think many good teams are doing that. I think around baseball pitching is younger, and they want, guys who do 100 who are like 24s. But, besides the point, they wanted to go with the Hall of Fame legacy instead of just, developing pitching, which that's another discussion for another time. But yeah, it wasn't a great look, especially getting bombed right first game back. Again, like Frank, I'll give him another start before I like cutting his throat off and shipping him on the bus with Dan Vogelbach. But again, we'll wait and see. Again, it's not a great look. Yeah, I'll give him one more start. I'll give him a mulligan and a cold day. What was it? Early May start. It shouldn't have been that. I don't think it was that cold in Detroit. But you've pitched in Detroit for how many years? So you can't even use that excuse of, hey, it's cold in Detroit. You pitched there for 7 years, so you should be comfortable on that mound and pitching in that weather at that time.
Yeah, like I said with Verlander and also Scherzer, this shouldn't be as much of a headache considering the caliber of career that these guys have carried out for so long. And I feel like we're just getting that just shitty end of the stick with that, whether it is from Verlander being healthy or just Max Scherzer just opening his mouth. But I'm he's starting to get on my nerves. I'm not going to say Scherzer's definitely starting to get on my nerves because I understand that he does speak for a lot of the players union and he speaks for a lot of that, but dude, you're pitching like absolute shit right now. And I'm hearing, even before his suspension was up, you're hearing this crap about him saying about the pitch clock and how, which I do want to get your guys' opinion on that, but with the whole pitch clock and how he's saying that it's going to possibly, you know, increase the possibility of injuries for older pitchers. He's talking about that and, the whole situation with the sunscreen and rosin and the sticky stuff. I mean, I just feel like this shouldn't have been as much of a headache to a guy that you give $43 million to. And for some reason, I don't trust this guy. I really don't trust him right now. And I know it's weird to say that because of how he's proven himself throughout his career. My last few memories of Max Scherzer as a Met were getting blown up for 7 runs in a wild card game, getting suspended for sticky stuff, and him, bitching about the pitch clock and him getting injured and him having all these injury concerns. I'm not seeing the Max Scherzer. The selling point of Max Scherzer is he's a competitor and he's, he'll do anything to go out there and pitch. All I'm seeing right now is excuses. That's literally all I'm seeing.
I think it's pretty ridiculous, honestly. He's talking about how, guys could get hurt. I haven't seen it. I mean, where's his proof? He's telling me, this is going to happen. Well, I don't see pitchers going down left and right. I don't see a bunch of aces that are down that normally are healthy. We have your usual guys who are hurt or hurt again. But again, it's like you're not Taiwan Walker who can use a bunch of excuses. Like, you're Max Scherzer. I mean, like you said, Carson, that's all we heard about was especially also the personality that he does. We saw him pitch with the dead arm in Los Angeles. That he's a guy that is ultra competitive. Don't want to talk to him. He's crazy. He's Mad Max. He has all these superlatives about just the kind of competitor he is. But that kind of fierce guy would not make all these excuses that we're hearing. That seems like a guy to me who maybe doesn't want to face reality that he's getting old and is not the same guy he used to be. And that's why he's making all these excuses because, I mean, why else would he not just say, I got to be better? I mean, you blame all this one stuff. You want to blame sweat. You want to blame pitch clocks. You want to blame, suspensions. I mean, how many other things are we going to use here? I mean, it's really just gotten ridiculous. And like you said, Carson, he's not been worth the money. I mean, I think that, the Mets took this approach of, high money to a select few guys that are spreading the wealth has not worked out for them so far. I mean, because you could just see that it's a team that lacks a lot of depth. I mean, especially in the rotation, you gave so much to the top two, you got nothing on the bottom half. And when these top two are always hurt, you really got nothing. So it's an approach that they keep going back to it, and it hasn't done them wonders yet. So I'm just very disappointed, and it's just very frustrating overall to watch because, like I said before, I don't really see it getting better. If anything, I see it getting worse. I mean, when's his IL stint? When's that coming up? Because I feel like his obliques and everything is just a ticking time bomb at this point, especially if he feels like he doesn't feel confident in his body, that he feels like, because of this pitch clock, I'm going to get hurt. That's like you're going to get hurt that way. That will happen. If you say I'm going to get hurt, you will. I mean, that's just how it works. So it's just very frustrating and just overall disappointing because, again, we hold him to such higher standards than what we've been getting and what we're hearing from him.
I mean, just so far, I've kind of just felt tricked. Like that's
definitely.
how I've really just felt tricked. Like especially with the amount of money that they've given to him, and I know it's probably going to sound somewhat harsh of where him not being worth the money. He did have a great season last year. But again, I'm going to say this again. Did he come through when we needed him to? When we needed him to win, did he come through when we needed? He didn't. He didn't come through. So at the end of the day, that's what you give the money to. Him to perform in the playoffs. Him to perform when we need him to. We need him to perform right now because the starting pitching has been so shit.
And the team's under 500.
The team's under 500 too.
I mean, come on. I mean, how does the team with the highest payroll in the sport be under 500? I mean, come on. And you're the leader of the payroll. You know what I mean? Like, you're one of the main reasons why they are the highest payroll. So you got to step up. You know what? Shut up and step up. That's how it's got to be.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I feel I'm a little annoyed. I really am a little annoyed. Listen, winning heals all. Hopefully we start winning again, and that'll heal all, and it'll zip everybody up. But right now, this looks really bad.
Like his argument could be valid, but it's not. This is not the time to be bringing this shit up. Like Frank said, you're using it as an excuse for a younger guy who's throwing consistently 102, 103, speeding him up, making him throw. That can be an argument. But right now is not the time for him to be bringing up because he's not that. He's not throwing 100, and like Frank said, he's grasping for an excuse. Again, we are a month into the pitch clock. We're not going to see the results of this for a few months. So again, he's using it. He's trying to find a crutch to make him maybe feel better, make himself feel better. But again, it's not the time. Again, I get he is the face of the MLBPA, so he wants to help defend the players. But right now is not the time to be like, well, something that we approved, now it doesn't look good. So again, timing, not great. Will he potentially have an argument? Again, we're not going to see those results a couple months in, and once we get some, consistent with the pitch clock, we're only a month in. Are pitchers still going to bitch and complain? Yes. But again, it's just not the time to be bringing that up.
I'm just getting at my wit's end right now. It's just, it's just all, it all sucks right now. Like just being a Mets fan right now, just watching this team, it's not fun. It really isn't fun. When your leaders at the top just don't look good, it goes throughout the entire organization. And, he can make as many speeches as he wants about things that are wrong for the game and things that are right for the game. But I can tell you right now, answer to him would be, Max, you're making $43 million. Suck it up.